Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to take some time and explain Liberty Reservoir mountain biking. So this is a complete overview of everything I've learned throughout the past year of mountain biking Liberty Reservoir. So I have created 5 different routes that I have done. I feel confident recommending them to you guys. And basically, I'm going to take some time here today and explain all of these routes in more detail, explain how to get to them, what they're like. And they're all between like 5 to 10. I have one that's 15-mile loops. So all these are great options for day mountain biking at Liberty Reservoir. So let's get into the first route. I use Jaya GPX or GPS for my route planning, and I definitely recommend them if you're doing mountain biking, or I especially use them for backpacking. But I can easily access them using a GPX format, and I can read them offline. So they're very helpful. And if you want to check out my maps using that format, they will be in the description below. So um, that's just a good note. And let's get into the first route that I made. So this first trip here that I have is a 9-mile out and back trip from the Route 32 bridge. So there's a trailhead right across the Route 32 bridge, and you go right on Liberty Reservoir Trail, and basically just follow that all the way up and make a little loop around it, all the way up to Deer Park Road. So it's about 4.5 miles out, 4.5 miles back. It's a pretty easy loop in my opinion. I would recommend allowing an hour and a half to 2 hours. Would be pretty easy. It's not too difficult. It's pretty smooth, not very technical. And just make sure the trail conditions are dry because it can be pretty muddy, and some of the creek crossings can be kind of tough if it just rained. So my advice for this loop is I really like it. You can go a bit farther if you want to go down the peninsula here. You can just do a quick out and back there. You can cross over to Deer Park Road if you want. But this is, my opinion, um, a pretty fun and pretty good 9-mile loop. Um, it's mostly flat. It says 1,000 feet elevation gain and loss over the entire 9 miles, so it's not that much. And the trailhead's super easy to get to. So I definitely recommend this loop. And let's get into the next trip. I'm calling this one the Route 32 to Deer Park Road out and back. And let's get into the next one. Trip. So this next trip that I have is a 6-mile loop. I call it the Peninsula Loop. It is on the southern side of the reservoir. So if you're on Route 26, there's like a little peninsula that wraps around here between the two bridges, and it's a pretty easy parking. Chevrolet's corner, you can turn off of 26 and then take a right down the road all the way to the bottom, and it's basically just a dead end. There's a gate and a super easy trailhead parking. So that is good. And then basically you just follow the edge of the peninsula here. It's a really nice section of trail, medium difficulty. There aren't any rocks, it's all roots, but it can be kind of challenging if it's wet because it's right on the edge of the water, so it can be hard. Sometimes I have spun out and gone straight into the reservoir before, so it's not necessarily a super easy loop, but it's not a hard loop either. If you're experienced, it shouldn't be any difficult, but maybe not beginner route. And you just follow the edge of the reservoir. Super nice trail right on the edge, and awesome views of the reservoir. You can just walk off the trail and see the reservoir in every single spot. You just loop all the way around, and then I like to cut back more inland on the way back, but anywhere in this area, you can just weave in and out of trails. It's super easy. You probably don't can't get much more than like 7 miles in because that's just the area, but it's a super nice section and you kind of just make your own route. This is just what I came up with, but anywhere in this section would be really good. And also, if you want a longer route, you can go back, cross back under 26 right here, and it's about 2 miles up to Snowman's Run Road. So that's a pretty nice section of trail, but it just being out and back. So I like this 5 mile loop and I definitely recommend it. It's awesome ride. It's a super fun ride and you definitely get the most out of your 5 miles. Maybe an hour at the most for this loop. So not a long ride at all, but super good to get out and see the reservoir in this way. So let's get into my next loop. In the southern section, closer to Patapsco Valley State Park, and it is the Liberty Dam route. So basically, to get to this, you off of Route 26, you go down Sunset Drive for maybe 2 miles, and on the right side, there will be a pull off. I'm not sure. I'm sure Google Maps has like a trailhead here, and off of Marriottsville Road. So that's also Sunset Drive. I think that's the same route. And there's a pull off here, plenty of parking for cars. And then you basically just make your way down to the dam from there, mostly away from the water on the way there. I like to get down to about right here because you can see the dam if you want to. I have before. I've hiked down here, and you can mountain bike it, but it's more for hiking as you get down all the way down to the dam. And this section of trail right here is not really well maintained. So I would recommend mountain biking up to here, getting a nice shot of the upper dam. And if you want to get the shot from the lower dam, like looking up at the dam, hike down, leave your bike up here somewhere and hike down, see the dam, and then hike back to your bike. I would recommend that. It's pretty steep down there. And then on the way back, I would just make your way weaving along the water. And a really nice section of trail, just up and down, up and down. Mostly level. There aren't many too bad hills. And it's just up and down, flowy trail. Really not technical at all. It's really quite easy. There's some double track, some to single track, but it's pretty easy. Once again, it's a 6 mile loop down to Liberty Dam. So this is a great option if you want to see the dam and just want to get out. And let's get into my next trail. It is a 8.5 mile out and back trip on the west shore of Liberty Reservoir. I call it the West Shoreline out and back. It's it's a little over 4 miles each way, and you do have to backtrack, which I don't particularly like, but if you only have one car, you probably pretty used to backtracking. So you park off of by Pine Valley Estates on Pine Knob Road. There's a pretty nice pull off here, plenty of parking, and it'd be hard to miss. It's right off of Route 32, and then maybe a mile back Pine Knob Road, which is also Mineral Hill Road, and then you make your way down to the reservoir, and then basically just follow the reservoir. There's only one trail, so you can't really get lost at all. It's pretty smooth and not very technical. There's some sections double track, some sections single track, but overall it's really smooth, really easy actually. Up and downs, but nothing too difficult. And you basically just follow the reservoir, mostly up on the ridge, so you don't get too close to the reservoir, but you can, in the winter especially, you can see the reservoir. Maybe not in the summer, but and then you make your way down to Carroll Road, which is like a private driveway, and you turn around there and make your way back. So once again, this is close to 8.5 miles, 500 feet elevation change, so not very much over close to 8.5 miles, but this is a super easy loop or easy trip. It's not really a loop, it's an out and back, but it's a pretty easy one. And I'd recommend maybe an hour and a half to do this out and back, maybe 2 hours, an hour there, an hour back. So, not too difficult. And let's get into the final trip that I'm doing. It is the longest trip I've done yet in this video. It is 15-mile out and back, so 7.5-ish miles out and 7.5-ish miles along the same route back. So to get there, it is off Ward's Chapel Road, close to Soldier's Delight area, and there's a pretty nice pull off, decent sized pull off, about a mile up Ward's Chapel Road from Route 26. So you start out going down, and basically you just stay along the reservoir, along the northeast side of the reservoir for maybe, like I said, 7.5 miles. There's a really cool waterfall that I definitely recommend checking out, and like an old mill right around here. And at any point, you can really turn around, and if you wanted to, you could road bike back, or you could just turn around at any point. That's what's nice about out and backs. But what I have set up here takes you out to this point, which I really like. There's like a cool little rocky beach here, and that, like I said, if you go all the way there, it'd be a 15-mile total trip. I would recommend 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours, depending on your pace. So it's a longer trip, but if you have more time, it would definitely worth it. The trails, it's not too technical, mostly level paths. There are probably some sections that are a bit overgrown in the summertime, so maybe a better winter ride. And I did it last winter. I really enjoyed it. I came the other way, but I really enjoyed it. And the scenery is very good. You're up on the ridge a lot, so you can see the reservoir, like I said, in the winter time, but maybe not in the summer. But it does make its way down to the reservoir at some spots, so the scenery is pretty good, and you can kind of make it your own too. Stay to the main trail. If you want to branch off, you can come out here, come out here. Really, just anything you want to do. But once again, it's off Ward's Chapel Road, 15 miles. 2,000 feet elevation gain and loss. So, yeah, and this is the last one. So that will conclude all of my trips here.